Okay. Again, relationship. So usually, relationships are difficult because from Buddhist point of view, we don't have a choice. If you are not in enlightened being, and as long as you have a strong karma, and as long as you have emotions, then we have no choice and no control. We can't control these things, which is like, like saying, today I want to have relationships, but tomorrow I don't want to have any kind of relationship. And then next day I want to start it again. We don't have that kind of choice and don't have that kind of power. The question is, how do relationships work for ordinary people? From a Buddhist point of view, when we are talking about relationships, we are talking about karma. Means when you have a karmic connection, when your karmic when your karmic wind blows you to someone, then your relationship is there. It comes out nowhere, and you actually have no idea how that happened, From a Buddhist point of view, as you know, we all depend on conditions, cause and conditions, which means none of us have control over anything, especially relationships. When it comes, it comes. It will be there, whether you enjoy it or not. But if there are no circumstance like that, and if there is no karmic connection, then even though Buddhists say that even though you are the most sort of beautiful and good looking or, elegant and lovely, and you have everything, but still you cannot have any relationships. You're like a totally dead tree where nothing can grow. And then people think, something is wrong with me. It doesn't work. I try to make connections, but I am not able to do it. Maybe you believe that there is something wrong with you, or you think you are basically unlovable. Something is wrong. But from Buddhist point of view, you have to understand this. Nothing is wrong with you. But you just don't have that karmic connection, karmic wind. By the power of karma, You can make relationships. And I think when your karmic wind comes, you should not be afraid. You should have relationships, I think. If, if it doesn't happen, then you should not feel sort of lonely or sad or uncomfortable being by yourself. Okay? Either way is fine. So if you don't have the proper karmic wind to form a relationship, then the question is, how should you work with loneliness? I think this is also very important. Because when you are lonely, you may have sort of judgmental thoughts, such as, I don't have any friends to hang out with, and you feel lonely. By judging yourself in this way, you develop your emotional sort of all this discomfort, and which makes the situation even more difficult. And letting go of such judgment will not take away all the pain of loneliness, but it will help you significantly. Loneliness can be painful. Therefore, how you deal with loneliness is so important. For example, when you don't have plan with anyone, for example, like your holidays and your, the big thing is your birthday, maybe the most painful times. So you feel you are lonely. And if you don't accept the loneliness, then you will continue to suffer. If you are frequently lonely, your difficulties in life will worse, and your joy will be sort of minimized. And if you already sort of struggle with difficult emotions, loneliness can significantly increase to your emotional distress. So a good solution to loneliness is to make friends with others if you can, and to, more importantly, make friends with yourself. If you're not willing to work on relationships, you can still learn to not judge yourself for being lonely, as well as build other kinds of meaningful connection, to minimize the pain of the loneliness that you are experiencing. So you have to learn how to stay alone. You should stay alone and meditate, read, and do other activities. Very important. If you don't know how to live alone with yourself, then you are suffering from loneliness. By the way, I'm very good about it. I know how to live alone. I know how to make friend myself. It's so important. Because I think there are lots of people suffering from loneliness. Because maybe they don't know how to live alone. So many this, judgmental thoughts develop that every day. But you should recognize that there are so many reasons to be happy. You should be happy because you have many wonderful, beautiful things. You are a human being and have this wonderful, precious human life. From my own experience, most of my life, I'm alone. When I stay somewhere or when I'm traveling somewhere, I'm by myself. From that experience, I have learned to appreciate all my time alone. Because I got to do whatever I want, whenever I want. It's wonderful. I am the boss. I'm the boss. I don't have to ask anybody, can I do this? Can we do this? It's for me, it's very hard, very difficult. Sometimes I see, other people fighting, and it makes me feel very fortunate to be alone. So when I do all these things by myself, it also makes me feel very strong and connected to myself. I appreciate all these, capacities that I have when I am alone. You see, when I came here, I didn't know anything. And people helped me everything. Of course, I appreciate all those who helped me. But now, I feel much better because I can do whatever I want. I don't have to depend on somebody. I can take care of myself. And now I know everything, how to do these things by myself. So I feel like, I can take care of myself. I really don't like depend on somebody. I really don't. Because my whole life in Tibet, just by myself. And when I meditate, wonderful. When I read a book, whatever I want. That is the beauty thing. so I don't have to be dependent on somebody. So if you are feeling lonely, I think it is a very good idea to do things by yourself. Even if you have the chance to do something with other person, your friends, your family, I would say, I think it would be a good idea to do these things by yourself. Because then you have the chance to see your, capabilities and your strengths, So you can start to build a connection to yourself through this. And you appreciate all these good things that you have. And, for example, like, you can go camping or traveling by yourself and start to build a sort of friendly sort of relationship with yourself. You can learn this. You can do this. People think, people don't like to do things, by themselves. I think that's wrong. If you go camping somewhere, if you travel with somebody, the first time, very beautiful, nice, and then end up, something is, there's always like, disagreement, inevitable between two people or between other people. You start very good and a very bad. So that's usually, always that happens. So, but if yourself, then beginning good, middle good, end of good, everything's good. That's from my own experience. I know how to do these things. I think I'm better than you. I know how to stay alone. I really know. Especially sometimes you like in the West, people getting old and then retire, right? Then by yourself, either man or woman, maybe these days you have TV, you can watch, listen, read, but like many old people, they don't have TV, these things. What you do, you are very, everything is like, you don't meditate, you don't read, so what you do, you have to learn these things, how to live alone by yourself and how to make friend yourself. Friendly relationship yourself is so important. Relationship with yourself. Because if you do this, you will start to create a habit, where you enjoy spending time just with yourself. My whole life like that. So sometimes I have companion, sometimes, I rather by myself because, how I want to do this, I want to, then I have to ask, it's hard. So, I have this habit, I can enjoy, spend time with myself, and all of that things, never bored, So anyway, that's how my life feels. If I'm with others, that's good. But if I'm alone, that's good too, because I enjoy being alone. I never have to worry about being lonely because I love being alone. So I have that habit, I have that habit. So generally, there are two ways of explaining loneliness according to Buddhism. They say if you have a bodhicitta mind or loving mind, you are actually connecting to everybody. So, mentally, you are not alone. You are not suffering from loneliness. When you read, when you meditate, when you act something, try to help, always mentally you are connecting with others, with somebody. So, from Bodhisattva's point of view, you are never alone. You are not suffering from loneliness. On the other hand, people think I would like to share my thoughts, my feelings, my activities, and everything, I want to share with my friends, with my whatever, But I really think you have to check your motivation first about these sharing things. Because most of the time, our motivation for sharing these things is based on our own selfish mind. That's what I think. That's why I usually don't share these things with people, except for my Dharma practice, Dharma teachings. When I teach Dharma, I never think I am better than you or I'm better than this. But this is only the way I share my Dharma teachings with you. Many teachings, you already know. Good for you. Maybe some teachings you don't know, so I'm happy to share. And then if you put them into your practice, that's your choice. I cannot control that. If you want, you can put them practice. But I just want to share my experience and my sort of Dharma teachings. Other than that, I don't want to share anything. Because there are two things that will go wrong. From my side, maybe my motivation is wrong. Okay? Maybe I'm very selfish. Maybe others think that. Others think, if I share these things, oh, he's selfish. He think he's the best, For example, if you go to like beautiful places and beautiful, countries, and then you took lots of pictures and then you put them on social medias, whatever. You say, hey, I'm here. Who cares, right? Who cares? I'm here. I'm enjoy this beautiful country, this and that, What is the point? And maybe other people get jealous, because of you are sharing these things. And maybe, doing that can cause a lot of negative emotions in others. You are causing them unhappiness. You're causing them unhappiness. When people, when people look on things like on Facebook and, social media, all this, see all this sort of, you share nice pictures and you enjoy these things, amazing things. It can make them feel, dissatisfied with their life, because all of a sudden their life might not seem good enough and, and so on, but people love to share everything. But I don't. Anyway, because what is the benefit of sharing these things? If there is a benefit, then of course we should share. I'm talking about sharing things like publicly, okay? Because many people, for example, if you put pictures on Facebook, many people don't know you. What is the point? I'm not saying that you can't share your pictures and your feelings, your thoughts, and with your family. Of course, family love to see these things because they love you. They love you, and they feel happy for you, right? But maybe your friends on Facebook, they will not feel the same way because they don't love you. They don't know you. Who cares? So, if you are Buddhist, the point is, if you want to share something on social media, first you have to check your motivation. That's the point. That's the point. Otherwise, you're going to, maybe you think you can make them happy, but maybe they can jealous. Other people are jealous. Other people are sad because, I can't do this. Then they sort of dissatisfaction, You can make them unhappy. It's possible. So whatever, when you want to share, first check your motivation. What is the point? What is the benefit? Then you can share. Then you understand. Without that, if you're a Buddhist and spiritual practitioner, so then, I think being alone is actually very, very important. Think of all benefits of being alone. When you are alone, you have time to practice. You have time to listen teachings, to contemplate meanings of the teachings. You read Dharma books, to exercise, take care of your, precious human body, So being alone is so good for you and your practice. It can help you develop all of these wonderful qualities. So I think being alone can actually be seen as a great gift, because you have of this time pursue your spiritual practice. So I feel so fortunate to have all this time sort of alone. And so you will, when you do that, you will also feel like very fortunate and very happy to be making good use of your time alone. And if we actually, from a Buddhist point of view, if we think about it, we actually are alone all the time. As Shantideva says in the Way of Bodhisattva, he said that alone we are born, alone we come into the world, and when we die, alone we pass away. I think this is the way great meditators go into solitary retreat, because they recognize this truth and want to sort of discover their life to practice. By doing this, they become fearless. You know, you see a great Dharma practitioners, they don't stay, monasteries and like that. They just go alone, go somewhere and solitary retreat and by themselves. Why they do that? From a Buddhist point of view, being alone is so good, These good meditators, they usually go to sort of dangerous place because they're afraid. They're afraid. They sort of intentionally go there. At the beginning, they're very uncomfortable, afraid, but then with time and practice, they lose all their sort of, fears. They really develop and see all of their capacities. Usually like Tibetans, they go to like cemeteries and practice in there because usually people are afraid to stay in cemetery. Don't you see like Padmasambhava was in his biography, the first time he went to cemeteries, spent lots of time in there. Most of his capacity and qualities he developed and practiced in cemeteries because he became a fearless. Something is not good, you have to fight with it. You can't sort of, run away from this. If you fear something, you have to do it. You have to meditate. You go to some, this kind of dangerous place, and then you meditate, and then you become a fearless. You cannot run away from your fear. When they are afraid, then they have the chance to recognize the true nature. So anyway, being alone is very, very good. Anyway, for those who are not alone and who have family, you have to know how to make healthy relationships. And you have lots of good opportunity to develop your practice within those relationships as well. So I think Buddhist point of view, you are alone or you are not. Both are good. What's wrong with that, But the thing is, you have to know how to keep the relationship harmoniously with yourself and with others. That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not saying here being alone is the best, though. So you should give up your family and you should be in a not that case, Either way is fine. The thing is, most time, we don't recognize our precious human life. That's the, point, the problem, So we should be happy with our life. Whether you have family or you are alone or, whatever, we should appreciate. Because the cultivation of appreciation is really the way you build your mental happiness. You see there are many causes of unhappiness, right? Dissatisfaction, greediness, loneliness, negative, actions, all of this. All of this come from a lack of appreciation. We just don't appreciate the beautiful, precious human life. And we don't have a great love, right? We don't have great love. We have fish love. We don't have great love. Genuine happiness doesn't come from having a fish love, which is thinking, you are a special person. I think it makes you lonely because you are sort of, you are connecting, you're developing, you're connecting with fish love, and which is almost being out of society and out of the family. Then you suffer from loneliness. So therefore, I usually really think that, there are lots of problems with this fish love, If you have a sense of true love, not fish love, then somehow, and that there is a genuine happiness. And when you get that, you will feel very relaxed and you feel very happy. This is the action of your true love. So, again, the basis of having a difficult relationship is being interested in oneself. Because if thinking on oneself all the time, which is this fish love, then it makes, distance from your family, from your friends. And then what happens is that eventually you feel lonely. And I think that is the result of this fish love. And if you don't care about your friends, your family, because there's not a good relationship, then it also brings you loneliness. That's why, I always think how important it is to have a bodhicitta practice, bodhicitta mind, and which is, you're going to develop true love, because then you will develop a good relationship through the practice of bodhicitta. Okay. Now, another important is, if you are in a relationship, what should you do if you have feeling of jealousy? I think jealousy is another big issue in relationships. Very bad, according to Buddhism, jealousy is very bad emotions. The worst emotions. Not just, jealous is not just, a romantic relation, but in all kinds of relationships. So we have to think about how to deal with this kind of bad and destructive emotion. As you know, the opposite of jealousy is rejoicing. And I think it's very helpful to practice rejoicing, with generosity, when you have a feeling of jealousy. First, you should notice when you are feeling jealousy and then investigate what is causing your sort of jealousy. So let's pretend that you are in a relationship with someone and you see this person getting along well with someone else. Usually that gives you a feeling of jealousy, right? Because fish love, you want your this person, this person's attention all for yourself, because you want that. So now you have to investigate that feeling of jealousy and see that you have feeling of attachment and you are jealous of your friends or your whatever, your partner's, attention. When you know exactly why you are jealous, then you can practice the antidote, right? Which is letting go and rejoicing. So you should imagine giving away whatever you are attached to. And thinking of having a true love for your friends, and you just want them to be happy. And right now, for example, they have this great opportunity to be happy with someone else. You should try to cultivate feelings of wanting that for them. Offer that happiness. Rejoicing in their happiness is the best antidote to this jealousy. So it will reduce attachment and increase true love. This jealousy is come from attachment. Attachment comes from fish love. Fish love comes from ego. Ego comes from ignorance. That's all. So that's why, now you see, that's why if you go deeper and investigate, that's why you have a difficult relationship. So if you try to let go and practice rejoicing and jealousy, let go jealousy, it will reduce your attachment. At the same time, increase your true love, because you're happy for those people. Means like you are not looking for something, you get something from these people. You give your happiness for them. This is what we call true love. This is what we call, non-attachment. You can do that. So you can do this with any object of jealousy. whatever you're jealous of, you can give it away, and you should rejoice in seeing that happiness of whoever receives that object. And another thing is, if you have a true love, whenever your friends and your partner is happy, you will be happy. This is different between true love and fish love. Whenever you have true love, whenever they happy, you will be happy. If you have fish love, you will be jealous instead of happy. To understand, this jealousy comes from having fish love, not true love. Because then, if somebody's enjoy with somebody, you get jealous. You don't appreciate, you don't rejoice. Because that shows you don't have true love. I don't care you agree or you don't agree with me. I don't care. It's the truth. If you have a true love, then you have no jealousy because you are happy for them. If you, this is Buddhist teaching, if you investigate when you are jealous, that means you have no true love. No question. No true love. So if you want a true love or you want a fish love, it's your choice. If you have decided that you wanted to build a good relationship, I strongly suggest to you that you need to make yourself open. That means being around people so that you have the opportunity to connect. And if your connection with other people is difficult, that means you are not open. If you cannot appreciate anything, and if you are a jealous person, believe me, you cannot have any good relationships. Not only for romantic relationship, not any kind of relationships with your family, your friends, your Dharma brothers, sisters, worldly and spiritual, any kind of relationship. That's why I said the relationship work, keep harmony relationship is so important from a Buddhist point of view, worldly and spiritually life. This is the key. So, and also like this Buddhist, advice to you is, like when you have a relationship, or if you are a couple, or maybe they say Buddha said that maybe it is good to think about something like non-attachment and impermanence, and you should think that this is maybe a temporary thing. And if you develop sort of fewer expectations, then it will help you to bring the, preciousness of the relationship. Otherwise, if you have so many expectations to a relationship, then you're going to destroy your relationships. That's why this Buddhist practice help you a lot in your relationships with your friends, with your family, with your Sangha members. Do you remember, like Buddha said, be gentle with yourself and kind to others and love your family and love your friends. So you see, a healthy relationship is very much based on spiritual practice, which is basically the practice of bodhicitta, practice of love and kindness. So you see, this kind of happy and healthy relationship is only achieved through practice, through understanding. Having a good view means you understand what's right, what's wrong. Not through fish love or, not through like physical beauty or power of money or fame or none of their work. So you see, Buddha himself, discovered genuine love and non-attachment himself. And then he taught, right, the path of love and non-attachment, the way of truth that anyone could discover and develop. That's why Buddha said, no one saves you, but you can. You save yourselves. So that is a very important sort of, practice and path. That's all. And now meditate. Do you remember we have meditate on the great kindness of everyone? Do you remember this slogan? In order to meditate on the great kindness of everyone, great kindness, turn your intention to I think this like in order to meditate on the great kindness of everyone, when you meditate, you sort of investigate and turn your attention to what things you like to do for others. And think about that over again, and develop that sort of good attitude in your mind. First in your mind, don't act. This is a method, right? First, you have to develop that. What kind of things you want to do and you like to do for others, and then you develop that. Develop. Think in your mind. At that point, you have a strong desire, and then you wish for yourself and others, especially wish for others to be free from, in this case, like difficult relationships. So this, what we call this strong desire is great compassion, right? You develop this in your mind. Still you don't act, but you develop this, and then you have a strong desire and you wish others to be free from suffering from, difficult relationships. Many people suffering, from their relationships. So you want more and more to develop sort of that strong desire, and then you think, oh, this is not enough. I want to do something. Because now you have very strong desire, right? Strong desire. So now you think, I want to act, which is you really want to help others. Then you develop your capacity. And in order to do that, you need sort of, this capacity, certain capacity, and achieve that capacity without other sentient beings. It is impossible. It is impossible. Bodhicitta, love and kindness, true love, in order to achieve these qualities without other sentient beings, impossible. So through that kind of wisdom, you will understand the great kindness of other sentient beings. At this point, your compassion. So now you already have compassion, right? So at this point, your compassion becomes bodhicitta. And when that happens, then you will have great, happy, and healthy relationships. Do you understand? At the end, you should make a strong commitment in your mind, which is, as I said, I will be kind. I will be kind, and I will practice kindness. So that is how you meditate on the great kindness of everyone. So relax, and you can start feel your feeling. Okay, you can start feel, when you relax, you can start feeling and pick up an emotion that is always coming to your mind. Okay? Maybe, attachment, maybe jealousy, maybe fish love, maybe, any kind of, emotions, maybe loneliness, whatever emotions, that is usually, very oftenly comes to your mind. You pick up that, okay? And then pay attention to it. And think that, how can you work with it? How can you work with it? As a human being, usually, like, we have countless, emotions. But as a human being, usually attachment and jealousy, anger, these three are very powerful, very strong. So whatever, you pick up that emotion, and then you have to sort of, think that how can you work with it? And at the same time, commitment is very important. You should make a commitment for the future. And sometimes you do this, sometimes you meditate, sometimes you sort of watch, your emotion, then your mind stops thinking. When you meditate, your mind starts thinking, and then you can rest there. You can rest there, your mind, easily, you rest. Then don't worry about about emotions, because your mind is stops. So you just relax there. And then when it comes, you should return to your awareness of the feeling of your emotion. And if you want, investigate a little bit and meditate on it. So this time, you should take your emotions, your emotions as the object of meditation, and then rest in open awareness and try to make it commitment and try to sort of eliminate your emotion. So for a few minutes, meditate like that and enjoy this meditation.